Scuderia AlphaTauri is a new moniker on the Formula One World Championship grid from 2020. From 2006 through 2019, the team raced in the prestigious Formula One competition, launching the careers of numerous promising drivers. Several of them went on to become racing stars, including Sebastian Vettel, Max Verstappen, Daniel Ricciardo, and Carlos Sainz. In its Toro Rosso days, Alpha Tauri had a distinct identity, trying to funnel potential Formula One drivers into a Red Bull seat. The team has recently begun to lose that ideology, and a planned reorganization and rebranding may result in the team being an outfit with no real mentality. Do you want to know what happened over the past few months that led to these big changes in Alpha Tauri? Theirs is a long story that deserves to be heard and will entertain us in the coming days. Helmut Marko's idea for Red Bull Racing's sister squad, Alpha Tauri, is poised to be massively overhauled. Alpha Tauri will have a completely new identity, beginning with the team's name. There will also be a total management overhaul, with current team manager Franz Tost stepping down at the end of the season. These changes have occurred following the death of Red Bull's founder and longtime CEO Dietrich Mateschitz. The team once known as Toro Rosso is now prepared to take a completely different path. Alpha Tauri is a more expensive team than Red Bull Racing, yet it is a consistent last-place finisher in the Formula One standings. This meant that the corporation would have to cut the cost gap cap itself. They also have a car that is underperforming and may be quite unstable when entering turns at high speeds. As a result of the lack of tangible gains from Alpha Tauri's operations, speculations about the team's sales began to circulate. However, such discussions have ceased, with Red Bull declaring that they will continue to operate as Alpha Tauri's sister team, albeit with significant changes. Helmut Marko has devised a strategy to resurrect Alpha Tauri. Any guesses about the strategy? Helmut Marko has stated that he wishes to change everything about Alpha Tauri, from its name to its leaders to where it works. Keeping the team's constant string of poor results in mind, Red Bull has no choice but to adjust how the group works in order to comply with the most recent cost cap laws. Laurent Mekies, Ferrari's racing director, has already been hired as the team's new principal beginning in 2024. Mekies will accompany the team's new CEO, outgoing FIA General Secretary Peter Bayer. The new Alpha Tauri will also be different, with a new title sponsor. Furthermore, the team's headquarters will be relocated from Faenza to Milton Keynes in order to better collaborate with Red Bull. The late Dietrich Mateschitz told Alpha Tauri's previous owner that the team would stay in Faenza, but Marko has no plans to uphold that pledge. Alpha Tauri, the fashion brand from which the racing team draws its name, has likewise struggled to maintain an F1 Outfits title sponsorship. The brand has 4 offline locations, and its reach will be limited to those. According to Marko's claims in Business F1 magazine, the new look team will work with Red Bull, while Haas and Ferrari will be based in Maranello. From 2024 onwards, a new team will essentially enter the grid. Alpha Tauri's rebranding is akin to the entry of a new team scheduled to compete in Formula One's next season, with the entire team entity poised to change. Once both teams begin working in Milton Keynes, the cost of operations will be greatly reduced. Helmut Marko claims, with Mekies and Bayer ready to run the squad, their present drivers are equally concerned about being let go. Following a string of poor results, Red Bull's third driver Daniel Ricciardo has already taken over for F1 rookie Nick de Vries. To preserve his spot, he must play well for the rest of the season. Ricciardo, in particular, must outperform his teammate Yuki Tsunoda. With one fashion company departing, another is eager to replace them as soon as possible. Hugo Boss has emerged as the favorite to replace the departing Alpha Tauri. In order to obtain more publicity, the present Aston Martin partner will attempt to market the new squad as Boss or Boss Orange. Is Yuki Tsunoda allegedly about to sign a contract extension with Alpha Tauri? What do you think? Yuki Tsunoda made his Formula One debut with Alpha Tauri in 2021. The Japanese driver made an impression at the season's opening round in Bahrain. Tsunoda did, however, suffer throughout the year. This season, the 23-year-old has grown and produced consistent results, including outperforming the now deposed Nick de Vries. According to F1 journalist Kamal, Alpha Tauri is poised to sign Tsunoda for the 2024 Formula One season. Despite competing with one of the slowest cars on the grid, the Japanese driver has astonished the team with his results this year. After overshadowing a Formula E world champion like Nick de Vries, Red Bull management is pleased with the 23-year-old's performance. Yuki Tsunoda's contract with Red Bull's sister club appears to be renewed for next season. However, no formal information on Tsunoda's future deal with Alpha Tauri is available. According to reports, the Japanese driver would most likely stay in Faenza for the upcoming season. Yuki Tsunoda is now racing with Daniel Ricciardo. The Australian driver was asked to replace the suspended de Vries in the Hungarian Grand Prix. What happened at the Belgian Grand Prix? Yuki Tsunoda outperformed Daniel Ricciardo. When Alpha Tauri confirmed Ricciardo's return to the Red Bull sister team, many speculated that Tsunoda would struggle to compete against the 8-time race winner. Even on their maiden GP weekend as teammates at the Hungaroring, the Japanese driver fell short of the Honey Badger. However, in the following race, at Spa-Francorchamps, the 23-year-old defied expectations. Yuki Tsunoda qualified ahead of Daniel Ricciardo for the Belgian Grand Prix. The Australian driver was eliminated from Q1 after a lap time was deleted owing to a track limits infringement. Tsunoda then carried on from a solid qualifying session, finishing P10 to bring home a much-needed point for his squad. At the same time, Ricciardo reached the finish line in P16. Yuki Tsunoda has thus far impressed Alpha Tauri and Red Bull this season. The Japanese driver has had some spectacular performances, including annihilating a Formula E world champion as a teammate. Despite the current challenge of Daniel Ricciardo as his teammate, Tsunoda is looking forward to staying with the Faenza-based squad next season. Why is Yuki Tsunoda astonished by Daniel Ricciardo's behavior after Alpha Tauri's comeback to Formula One? After all, Alpha Tauri has always preferred to field young up-and-coming drivers, mainly from the Red Bull Driver Academy. That's how the Japanese racer got his spot, with help from teammate Honda. Ricciardo's participation means that Tsunoda will have a considerably more experienced teammate to work with for the first time in Formula One. Even after only 2 race weekends together, he can tell the difference. I already know he's fast, but his behavior in the team is probably the polar opposite of mine, he told reporters. So there's a lot to learn from him. It's also a bit of pressure for myself, which probably caused me to rush and make a few mistakes in the last couple of races. But in the last race, I was able to pull it all together. It was not an easy task, but I'm just thrilled and eager to fight him in the second half of the season. Tsunoda finished 10th in that race which he was referring to. It was his 3rd points-paying finish of the season, and he is the only one of the 3 Alpha Tauri drivers to have scored. Despite the excitement surrounding Ricciardo's return to the F1 grid, the 23-year-old believes his accomplishments have gone unnoticed. It's challenging, but I also know that this is a completely new situation for me, he remarked. What happens next for Alpha Tauri? If Alpha Tauri decides to go ahead with this strategy, it could turn out to be a wise strategic decision, considering RB19's recent success. Using an already dominant car might give Alpha Tauri a competitive advantage, and possibly lift them in the hotly contested midfield battle. While Yuki Tsunoda has shown promise and secured all of Alpha Tauri's points this season, the team's choice to separate company with Nick de Vries has raised questions. Daniel Ricciardo has come in as a motivator, not only for Yuki but also for Checo, and it appears to have worked in the last couple of races as well. But will Daniel Ricciardo race for Alpha Tauri next year? If the Alpha Tauri is a far superior vehicle? Do let us know your views about Alpha Tauri. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the post notifications to stay updated. Until next time, stay safe. See you all.